A prudent man foreseeth the evil, and hideth himself, but the simple pass on and are punished. Proverbs chapter 22, verse 3. Shalom. I want to start off by giving all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Rachah Kodash. Double honors to our venerable apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well, and peace and blessings to the Lord's elect, the house of David. It's the brother Haran coming back at you with a quick lesson, Lord willing, to be edifying and uplifting unto the elect. All right, and before I move on with this lesson, just want to do a quick PSA announcement. All right, my main page, the Lightbringer 144K page, got a strike late last week. All right, they've been messing with the channel over the past couple of weeks. So I'm going to be uploading on the Haran Amath God page until the strike is over. So, just subscribe and be edified. All right. So moving on. All right. We just read the book of Proverbs, the 22nd chapter. All right. The 3rd verse. All right. Which leads me to this article here that I came across, and it's titled BF, otherwise known as bird flu. All right. Virus has been identified in raw milk sold in California. All right. I believe this is dated today, if I'm not mistaken. All right. But before I go into that, I want to actually get a little bit more information, all right, on what this is all about. Okay. And this, it leads me to believe that there's definitely a so-called terrorism or bioterrorist attack, all right, that might be here very soon. Okay. We've been hearing, we've been going into it, right, months, all right, about how these devils are planning, okay, a huge event, all right, and that huge event is going to be the catalyst, all right, to bring in that MOTB, okay, and of course they've been talking about many different aspects of this beast system, right, going into AI, digital IDs and the CBDC, the UBI, and so on and so forth. All right, One Health, right? All these different things that Esau is planning to bring upon the face of the earth to enhance his abilities to control, all right, the populations, if you will. Okay, we're seeing the steps that's leading to that. Okay, and of course you got the digital currency, otherwise known as crypto, right? That's a form of cryptocurrency that now Trump is talking about. So Trump is talking about when he comes into power, all right, he's going to push that heavy. Okay, he's putting certain people in his so-called cabinet, all right, that are very pro-Israel, right? In other words, you're going to be seeing laws and mandates that are going to go against anyone who speaks against the 1948ers. Okay, of course, and you're seeing these same people who are very pro technology and so on and so forth. All right, so we're seeing all these things building up, right? But we through the Spirit and power of Yahweh Shem Yahushai also understand that of course you got the whole thing with World War III, all right, brewing out there in the East. Okay, so there's a lot of things that's leading to, all right, a very chaotic time, as is written in the book of Jeremiah, the 30th chapter, all right, of a time of Jacob's trouble. Okay, and with that Jacob's trouble encompasses pretty much everything that we've been warning about. All right, the prophets of old have been warning about or warned about in the scriptures. All right, going into the famines, all right, the pestilences, the all kinds of diseases, okay, which falls under pestilence, right? So could we very well be on the way to some form of huge pestilence very soon? Typically, before something huge or major event happens, right, it starts off small. And that's why I read the book of Proverbs. It starts off small and the elect are able to see it, all right, ahead of time and prepare for it. And by the time it hits the mainstream, the damage is already done. Okay, the damage is pretty much already done. All right. Now I want to read a little bit about bioterrorism, right? What is food bioterrorism? Okay. And this is why reason why I'm reading this is because this article kind of hints at that. All right. But, Esau, knowing how these devils operate, you don't be surprised if you see them, use these small little events and exacerbate, these events, right, for their own benefit, right? Cui bono. Okay, so let's read. It says, what is food bioterrorism? It says food bioterrorism is an intentional attack targeted against the food system using a disease-causing biological agent. The U.S. food supply is susceptible to intentional contamination by so-called T's, where food could be used as a vehicle for introducing harmful disease pathogens into the United States. The U.S. food system is far-reaching, encompassing the full range of domestically produced foods such as fish, fruits, grains, meats, nuts, poultry, vegetables, etc. A large variety of processed food products, including deli meats, juices, milk, snacks, foods, and so on and so forth, right? As well as those foods and food products imported into the United States. Most common foodborne illnesses are caused by a handful of bacterial species, most notably the Escherichia, all right, or Escherichia coli, all right, Listeria, monocytogenes, Salmonella, and the Shigella. Okay, terrorists could intentionally add these commonly found food pathogens or other bioterrorism threat agents to legally or illegally imported foods, or contaminate a facility where foods are being produced, packaged, and distributed. So now you sit back and you wonder, how would that happen? Right? When you have a centralized food distribution system, it makes it kind of hard for some form of so-called terrorists to go around and poison the food, if you will, right? Because from the factories where the food is produced to the stores where it ends up on your shelves, it's very streamlined, right? When you look at these farms and so on and so forth, where a lot of the food is being produced, or whether it be potatoes or whether it be livestock, right, where you got, meats and so on and so forth. Slakia. One has to think about this and question, how would somebody be able to enter into this type of field and contaminate it with some form of these kind of illnesses here? I mean, Listeria and all these different, like, what kind of terrorist is going to be doing some shit like that, right? It's like they come up with these things, right? These hypothetical situations or whatever the case may be. Meanwhile, in the background, they're the ones who are behind all this stuff that happens anyway. Okay? Like I always say, nobody in their right mind just goes around doing the kind of things that these devils always preach about, that, oh, this could possibly happen. Like, oh, there's a mass shooting. Like, it's always whenever they have an agenda or some form of propaganda to push, then you start seeing so-called mass shootings, right? But typically, people don't just get up. Like, the average person is not afraid to go into a store or a church or something because they're afraid somebody's going to come up there and wipe them all out. It's not a thing that happens in real life. Okay, only on TV that you see shit like that. The news is going to talk about it and so on and so forth. But real life people are not really in that kind of mind frame. Okay, life is hard as it is. Everyone is trying to work hard to make ends meet. You think somebody got time to go pick up a so-called, specifically the AR-15, right, and go mow down a whole bunch of people? Of course, I mean, we can't neglect the fact that the Lord could put a spirit on a demonic spirit on a person to go, wipe certain people out as a form of judgment. Okay, but the point is, under normal circumstances, you don't really see that. So you translate that to this situation here, where you question, okay, the FBI and all these different phony ass alphabet agencies have came out and put that out there that, hey, there's a high chance that, holiday season coming up, these large gatherings, we might could see some form of T attack, right, from a foreign enemy, right? Okay, cool. They've also mentioned how the water supply system could be so-called hacked. How they gonna do that? Well, we don't know, because again, you got all this technology, you got all these so-called security measures, right? You got all these different so-called safety precautions that these companies take, right? Because they want to limit the chances of any type of liability or lawsuits or whatever the case may be. So they go through all these stringent protocols, but yet they turn around and say, "Oh, we're still, trying to protect you from these crazy people that could potentially harm you." You know. Meanwhile, you're the only one who has access to anything that could harm anyone, right? When you have the FDA approving, the Vanessa and all that, you should understand that these people are not here for your health. You know, they say raw milk is not good for you, but pasteurized milk is better. Meanwhile, pasteurized is when they boil the damn milk and kill off all the healthy bacteria in it. You know, but again, this is what the devil does. All right, they come up with things. They put all this fear and propaganda shit out there, and then they get the reaction of the people, and then they come out and say, "Oh, look, there's only solution for this," right? As you will see in the article that we're going to read. Okay, because I believe that they're setting the stage for more governmental oversight, if you will, right? More less control by the people and more control for these so-called governments and so on and so forth. Okay, so it says, why target the U.S. food system? The major effect of a successful bioterrorist attack on the food system could be human illnesses and potentially deaths. It is also important to recognize that economic disruption, widespread fear, and political destabilization could be achieved without causing significant illness. You hear that? Loss of public confidence in the food supply might even overshadow the public health consequences of mass contamination. So, hey, the Most High could do it where, in the next few months or so, you have an economic meltdown. You have, which will hit the social or social economic, right? You have a health crisis, right? Pestilences. Okay, and then you also have famines, right? Not to mention what's going on in the Middle East with World War III brewing. Okay, Russia, really getting involved now. Okay, now that they're being attacked physically by Ukraine, and so on and so forth. So we're seeing things build up, but the Lord could have it all culminate, and it happens quickly. Okay, very quickly, on some warp speed 2.0 type stuff. And with that in mind, it keeps you, that MOTB is right around the corner then. Okay, that MOTB is right around the corner. All right. It says the United States vulnerable to a food BioT attack. Yes, right. The food infrastructure is considered a soft target for deliberate attack because highly vulnerable targets, such as food imports and packaging facilities, often provide little to no security. And that would be a beautiful way for them to explain to the masses, right? So, of course, they can use something like that. They can use, food being imported in. That will cause a huge disruption to the supply chain. And they can also explain it with a valid explanation that, oh, look, the food that's being imported over here got contaminated. So now we can't get food from outside no more. We're going to provide our own food. Introduce yourself to the 3D printed meat. And so on and so forth. Wild shit like that. Damn lab grown meat and shit. It's like, yo. It says the large number of entry points in the food continuum for introduction of an agent, combined with the lack of security and surveillance at ports and entry, and many processing, packaging, and distributing facilities underlies the nature of the vulnerability. All right, and that leads us to this article here. It says BF virus has been identified in raw milk sold in California. Okay, and as we know, as California goes, so does America, right? It says the California Department of Public Health, which is CDPH, has detected the avian influenza or bird flu virus in a sample of a raw milk product. The product, which was for sale at retailers at the time of the testing, has now been recalled by the producer after the state of California requested its withdrawal from sale. Now, one thing I've also noticed lately is a lot of food is being recalled, right? A lot of meat and drinks and so on and so forth is all being recalled, right? Recall, recall, recall. But what are the consequences for these companies that keep on failing, all right, to have these so-called food safety standards met? What's going on with that? What are we doing with that? You know, because clearly the FDA, you got food on the shelves that are being recalled on a weekly basis at this point. Every week you hear something new about, oh, they recalled this because of that. They recalled that because of that. You know, it's like, what type of system is this? You know, like, what do you expect the people to do? You know, you got the people depending on you for everything, and then you still fucking it up. Like, well, what's going on? You know? It says the affected product is a cream top whole raw milk produced and packaged by Raw Farm LLC of Fresno County with lot code 20 blah blah blah. The best buy date of the batch is November 11, 2024, meaning consumers could still have it in their homes. No illnesses have currently been reported from this batch of milk, but people can take several days to develop bird F or BF after exposure. According to the WHODAT, most people develop symptoms within 2 to 5 days, but can take up to 17 days to develop. It says, according to the CDC, BF symptoms may include fever or feeling feverish or chills, eye redness or irritation, and respiratory symptoms such as cough, sore throat, runny or stuffy nose, muscle or body aches, headaches, and tiredness. That's just crazy. Customers should not consume products matching the description above and should return the product to stores or dispose of it. The CDPH is also in the process of informing retailers about the infected product to notify them to remove it from their shelves. The CDPH has since visited both locations of the company's farms and has found no further evidence of BF. You hear that? I call BS on that BF right there. It says the CDPH will continue to test the farm's milk twice a week. That's the key. Okay, so now they have an entry point. Now they can say, oh, look, see, you got all these issues. We have to come in and test on a weekly basis, twice a week. That's excessive testing right there. So you transfer that. If this is what they're doing for a farm that has been so-called where BF so-called came from and contaminated milk and so on and so forth, this is what they're doing to a farm. How much more when it starts hitting people? Okay, that's when lockdowns are gonna come back. That's where so-called masking is gonna come back, because the symptoms here sounds like cold and so on and so forth, right? So it'll be easy to explain away. Once again, it'll be easy to convince people that they need to shut things down, they need to stay home, they need to wear their mask, they need to wash their hands, they need to, all this weirdo stuff that we had to go through over the past couple of years. Okay? But a sore throat, runny, stuffy nose, body aches, headaches, tiredness, yeah, those are symptoms of what they call BF. Okay? The CDPH stresses that there is no risk of consuming pasteurized milk, as the milk is heated to temperatures that inactivate bacteria and viruses. Yeah, right. However, raw milk does not go through this process, and that's, again, they're about to target raw milk. I can see this pattern picking up where everything that they need to target, they'll make it a problem. And then they'll have, this is why we can't have this. See? It says, meaning any bacteria or viruses in the milk can be transferred to the consumer. Public health departments as well as the CDC have long warned against the dangers of consuming raw milk, which has been responsible for outbreaks of Listeria, E. coli, Campylobacter, 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 and Salmonella, among other microbes. Okay, so again, the hypocrisy of these devils is always being highlighted. All right, they're going to turn around and say, "Oh, you can't have raw milk. You can only have pasteurized milk because pasteurized milk kills all the bacteria." Well, guess what? The healthy bacteria gets killed off whenever you heat up the milk like that for that long. All right, and the raw milk, so-called, has the healthy bacteria that people actually need. You see, so they'll say, "Oh no, you can't have that because it's not good for you. It could get you sick." Meanwhile, the shit that you got on the shelves is what's actually getting people sick. See? So yeah, man, just be aware. I believe they also ran a simulation out in Colorado earlier this year. I want to say April. Okay, February, April, around there, where they ran a simulation with their communications and their hospitals, of course, with the police as well, of a damn disease that breaks out, some type of bioterrorist attack, and what did it attack milk? And when people drank the milk, they got sick. All right, and it was like an emergency. Like, they were going crazy about it. You know what I mean? But hey, these things are expected to happen. All right, being that we're in the last days, the man of sin is definitely on a roll doing his thing, and that's why we've been put out here to expose these devils for who they are and what they're all about. All right, so that's what we're going to continue to do. But for the elect, ultimately, Lord willing, we are of that number. We're going to make it out of this thing. All right. But remember, it's eerily quiet. You know what I mean? It's been very, very quiet. It's like, ain't nothing going on. Like, yo, but hey, that's when the Lord sets things up to strike. All right. Again, when they shall say peace and safety, then sudden destruction cometh upon them. Okay. And they shall not escape. All right. But anyway, I'm gonna leave it off there. Lord willing, you are edified and informed. All right. I like to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Racha Kodash, the water Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, for the inspiration. And until next time, Shalom, Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Brakatam, Shalom.